There was someone just pulled the fire alarm at the PAL building, so potential scare, but we're back. We're back at it. So take two. So we were going into, before that, we were talking about the taco spot that I went to this weekend. Is it Barreo's Taco? What is it?
Tacos in Ocean City, man. It's one of John Trader's restaurants. And you can always trust any of the spots, like Annabelle's, Liquid Assets, Our Harvest. All of them are always killer. Yeah. But that taco spot is legit, man. Fire. And I mean, Annabelle's is like, get those boozy milkshakes. They have good beers. Yeah. The barbecue is like, I mean, even talking to like Lex, like he's, big like barbecue guy. Yeah. He's like, outside of like Texas, that's the best barbecue I've ever had. Their brisket is legit. It's the brisket they use in the tacos too. Really? Well, like if you go over, their pastor is all legit. Like if you know how they make the pastor tacos, it's all real deal. Like
it was legit yesterday when I seen it. I was like, oh, this is all. They were like wheeling in.
There's no skimping. On those. John Trade, all those restaurants. It's all like done properly, and they're doing things the best way that they can.
Well, anything that with Liquid Assets, Liquid Assets is just such a good spot to go to. Like, you can never go wrong. If someone asks me, like, recommend a spot, I'm like, Liquid Assets.
Yeah, and so that whole staff is always great. I've been working with them since I started selling beer, like, it's been about 13 years, and they've always been big supporters of whatever I was throwing at them at any given point. Man.
John's a good dude, too. I'm trying to work with him on a couple deals.
Nice.
Really, really good, down-to-earth guy.
I mean, as far as, like, interaction with him, I haven't had much, but, like, I've always dealt with Denver, Oscar at Liquid Assets and some of those dudes. So.
Yeah, it was such a – that spot was – what I did notice is they didn't have beer there. Like, cervezas.
At the taco.
Yeah, that's the taco spot.
If you go up to Annabelle's, they have beer, which you can carry out.
Oh, can you?
So they have beer. Oh, man, those boozy milkshakes. Yeah. Monet, and we get, the, I guess, like the mocktail version would be the correct term now. We get the boys just the straight milkshakes, and they use like a local ice creamery. And
Shane was saying it was like the soup Nazi in there.
It
was like real strict about how you had to order.
Well, it's funny because I was like, we get there and I felt so, how like you get there, the prices are on the board and you're like, all right, $6.50 for a taco, right? And so like your natural instinct is probably like, dude, how many tacos comes with that? Because you don't want to order like, let me get 2 of these and there's 6 tacos or whatever. So you ask and they're like, it's 1.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, hold on. So it's 1 taco for $6.50. But like, and with all due in seriousness, they were phenomenal tacos. Like, and I said the churros blow your dick off. Yeah. I mean, it'll blow your dick off. You're gonna pick it up and then put it back. It'll that's like
so much for keeping it PC.
Like,
prop culture.
Like, I was blown away. The churros were great. Probably the best churro I've ever had. To be honest with you, it was
I haven't tried those. I'll give you something to try since you're throwing something to me. Yeah. If you haven't been to Annabelle's, go up and get the burn ends. Yeah. It's meat candy, dude. It's
Is it really
sweet
meat candy?
Oh my god, dude. It's the best shit ever.
I tried to go there. So it's funny because like the pandemic year, so 2020. Like, I tried to always get into Liquid Assets. I tried to go there like at least once a month or something like that, Friday. And they were so packed because it was condensed seating. No, and I like to sit at the bar when I go.
Me too.
Because it's so chill, The bartenders are great, like they're great service. So they couldn't get us in. So they were like, hey, go to Annabelle's and like you can buy, because I wanted high noons at the time. Yeah. Like, and no one else had them. They were the only spot that had high noons. So I get it. We go to Annabelle's and we walk in and I mean we have like 2 big grocery bags full of high noons. And the dude goes, whoa, no drinking in here. Like, what? Yeah. And I was like, they sent me down from Liquid Assets. He's like, cool, dude, whatever.
It was probably Joe Bocci. This dude that I know, he was the GM there at the time, and I could see that.
Yeah, he was like, whoa, what are you doing? I was like, they sent me down. They said to come to this spot because they were so busy, and they told me to bring these with me, and they were like, all right, whatever, it works. He was like, just don't go off the patio with them open. I was like, awesome. It was cool, dude.
So you already talked about some beer today?
Oh, I would love to talk about beer.
You want to get it started?
Yeah. You ready to get it started?
You just want to keep going?
No, do you want to get it started?
I don't know. You know what happens when we get it started.
Oh, let's get it started.
Know what happens when you all get it started right here on Prop Culture And speaking of that, welcome back to the Prop Culture Podcast. I am your host, Matt Trader, and to my left, from parts unknown, Mr. Shane Snoots. And today, ladies and gentlemen, for all you craft beer aficionados, we have a very
$10 words
special guest all the way from the great state of Delaware.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, a man that has put some of our local craft beers right here on Delmarva on the map. A man that some call the beer genius and that others call Mr. Polo. But a man that I like to call one of the best modern dads in the world today. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up no matter where you are, from the bar to the car.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Otherside.
Not at the same time.
From Otherside.
Full disclosure.
Mr. Shawn Smith. Shawn, what's up, brother?
What's up, buddy?
What's up, my man?
Full disclosure.
Been friends with this guy for almost 30 years. Full disclosure, though.
Full disclosure, we are not saying to drink in a car, okay? No. Do not drink. Yeah. I just want to be very clear, exponentially clear. This is not promoting drinking in the car.
To the bar, Uber, drink responsibly.
Do not drink in the car.
Drink responsibly. You can use promo code. We don't have one yet, but I'm going to call Uber and make sure that we get a promo code for Uber, because that is my favorite means of transportation. Now, let's segue back to Shawn.
Sorry, I just, people, no DUIs.
So,
no Deweys.
Shawn Smith, owner and operator of Otherside Beverage Project. This guy has been in the beer game, ladies and gentlemen, for a long, long time. I think everybody around here who is a craft beer drinker knows this man. If you don't, you probably don't drink much craft beer. All right. But Shawn, for those who don't know you, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself now?
First of all, thanks for having me on, dude.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Appreciate some time with you. Shawn Smith, I started selling beer about 13 years ago in that area. Started out with a small distributor. That distributor grew. I went on to work with another local brewery, RAR Brewing, out of Cambridge. I worked there, ran the sales department. Ended up getting into a little bit of all of it on the brewing side, as far as ordering grain, running the production schedule, and all that stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah,
learned a ton. And then one of my buddies that I work for at the other distributor, he and I and his brother decided to put something together and start our own distributor, focusing on kind of these new and upcoming breweries that weren't typically available, and going out and reaching out to these small guys and bringing them basically bringing the best beer in the world to our market that we were working out of. So yeah, man, we're about 3 years in, but we're, ultimately, I appreciate all the kind words, but the goal is to just be, a dude that you would want to have a beer with, and that's how we try to operate, and just be a friend to all of our accounts, and still bring these awesome products to the market. So
it's bringing on more. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
No, you're fine. It's interesting. So you started somewhere. What made you kind of branch out on your own?
It was just time. I mean, I always felt like I should do something on my own, and just kind of having that entrepreneurial spirit. And my partners, Matt and Andrew, who are also monumental in what we built, just great dudes. And, owning a business together, we become family. And it takes we're three very different personalities, and it takes each of us to really keep this thing rolling. And we have a great staff. All of our employees just crush it. I mean,
shout out to Matt Flisher, by the way. Shout out to Matt Flisher, by the way.
But we have try to keep things fun, and try to build a culture that you would want to be a part of for our company.
Yeah.
And that's really our ultimate goal, and to keep things growing. And we're definitely in a growth phase. And as long as we can keep pushing and keep bringing products that people want to the market that are not easily found, but then it's also now we have these other local breweries and breweries that we're kind of building our business with as well, that really crush it. And just real quick, I feel like we should have a beer.
Yeah. What do we got here?
While we're doing this. So this is kind of the beer that's become one of our house beers that we drink all the time.
Are you gonna stone cold this, man? Don't be stone cold.
This is Dewey's.
Okay, this bad boy. Look
Dewey
at
Beer Co. out of Dewey. Now they have a production facility in Harvest. And if you haven't been before, definitely check it out. But this is El Trono. Our saying at Otherside is it's Trono time.
Oh man.
So,
oh, babe, this bad boy is. Oh, cheers,
El Trono, baby. Salute.
Dude, this is a good beer.
El Trono.
Oh, dude, this is Just a super crisp lager.
Can I cut an El Promo for El Trono?
This is a good dude.
That is El Trono, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta get some of that.
Listen, I'm not a beer drinker, I'm a spirits drinker, as they would say. More of just a Crown Royal. If I'm just gonna pinpoint it, Crown Royal is where I'm at.
Everybody has their thing, man.
But if I was gonna drink, dude, that's a nice light. Dude, that's a crit. Like that's
depending on what you like, they have like, and not just them. Like we have fruited sours that my wife hates beer.
Yeah,
like you know Monet. She's I think we've been together for 22 years. I think. I hope I got that right. If not,
please do.
Married for like 16, but I think she's drank like I think I've seen her drink like 4 beers our entire like time together, and she loves these fruited sours that like Dewey, Imprint, a few others are putting out.
Is that the new wave right now? Fruited sours? We're seeing a lot
of those. Like there's a lot of fruited sours, and beer changes. I feel like at this point on a daily basis. On what's but IPAs are always going to be strong. And I love IPAs. But like now it's kind of like go back to lager. Like I go to lagers a lot now just because I like to drink something super easy, or maybe in between. Like I can have an IPA and this.
So what is this? What is this?
It's basically a Mexican lager and El Trono, the Throne.
Okay, man.
And if you look at it, it's the fold out. It's the fold out chair for the beach.
Fold out.
Beer company, right?
Dude, this bad boy, like it is extremely light. Like this is you pull up on this is a Saturday. I'm out cooking out. This is a Saturday beer, dude. Like
what's the alcohol content on this one?
I think it's like 5. This one's about 5.
You know me, I'm always looking at 10%ers. I'm not a huge beer drinker either, but when it comes to the fall and winter, you know me,
you're always hitting me, hey man, what's the Thanksgiving?
I got my beer. So my thing is with beer is I usually drink about 2 or 3 of them. Yeah. And I have about a little like snort of whiskey on the side. And that's my thing on football Sundays. And I'm calling Shawn pretty much every Sunday. I'm at Cheers.
He's texting me at Cheers. Hey, man, what should I grab?
What should I get? And I always have this.
And the dudes at Cheers are like,
Traders.
Hey, man, Traders here. What up?
He's going to call you any minute. But that's my thing, man. Beer and whiskey, beer and whiskey combo on Sundays. Well,
beer is whiskey is kind of like, if you're going out, for me, whiskey is a going out thing. Like if I'm out at the bar or I'm out getting dinner.
We like whiskey too, man. We're like, so we do spirits in Delaware as well. Yeah. We will be transitioning in. We started in Delaware.
Yeah.
Started with like 8 breweries. And 3 years ago, we launched Maryland that December. Yeah. And we just launched DC as well. So we'll be adding spirits for Maryland and DC in the next.
Sweet. So what's like a good spirit? What's a good whiskey in Delaware?
So we have this one called Yellowbird. That's killer. Maybe I'll bring a sample for you guys.
Right. Dude, I'd love.
We'll do another episode. Get your partners.
Okay.
On with
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'd be killer.
Dude, I love.
I think it'd be cool to see all 3 of us because it is like very different personality. You guys,
you're our resident. We've got a resident comedian. That will be on the next episodes, actually before you, right? And then we've got a resident appraiser, Brandon Ross. We've got some other personalities, Tommy Burdett. You're gonna be our resident beer guy.
So we can be more than beer, man. We got some wine too.
There's what I'm saying. Yeah,
bring the whiskey, baby.
And like for me, like on spirits and stuff, like I like bourbon, I like whiskey, but tequila, like my wife likes tequila, so I've like really like man, this is good stuff. And a couple of my like other good buddies really dig tequila too. So trying some of those, and that's become like my spirit. I'm like like some like we do this uno dos tres tequila, organic tequila.
Yeah.
Sorry, you got me on allergies.
You're fine.
No, you know
what's crazy? But like, so it's crazy. Like, so what is? And this is probably this is probably a dumb question. What is like organic? Like, what's an organic spirit? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, like, because
to be organic, it all has to be like, it kind of has to go through a certification one. And I think like you would probably find that most other spirits or beers could probably be close to that.
Yeah.
But they just go through the certification process.
Yeah, because I always see, like, because now if you look at, like, it's like gluten-free, like, all the, like, hormone-free. And I'm like, well, when did it have hormones in it? Like, I mean,
I mean, it's probably, it probably goes back to the grain or whatever they're using for that. And I don't have all the answers for that.
But no, it's just wild. It's just wild to think about. Like, I've never, like, picked up, like, a bottle and was like, before, I don't know, let's just call it, like, 2015, like, did you ever really care, like when you were buying a beer or a liquor, if it was gluten free?
I mean, I think there's like, there's so many gluten allergies and gluten and all that. Like, and gluten tolerance, I think, is probably the one that you see the most.
Yeah.
But I also think there's like, and one of our friends, like, he was like, man, I've cut gluten back because I feel like I store it in certain places.
Oh,
and it's like here and here. Dude. And I'm like, man, I kind of feel the same way. Maybe I need to cut back on some gluten because this is where I gain weight. And obviously for me, it's like beer, tacos, pizza. That's what I love. So I gotta if I can balance some of this out and cut down on a little gluten, maybe I will. But I haven't made a conscious effort to do that.
I don't blame you.
So go back to the tequila. I know tequila is becoming uber popular right now. Back to Uber.
And even harder to get.
It is even harder. So my wife Jen, she's become a big tequila guy, and I like tequila.
What is she
more
like?
than I used
Blanco, Rep, or
she's drinking the like the 1800. I've got a couple that
I'll be honest. I'm
not a big. I can talk whiskey with you all day long. We can have conversations. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know.
No, me either, man. I know what I like on some of those things, but I can talk beer all day long.
How do you like your tequila though? What do you drink typically?
I like Blanco, and I think when you're sipping something,
do you like a margarita? Do you like a
if we're doing I can do I'll do bourbon and those neat, but with tequila, I actually like a little bit of I like Liquid Death and a little bit of lime, the sparkling Liquid Death, killer Topo Chico.
Yeah. I have a friend that only does oranges with tequila.
Really?
That'll do oranges instead of
lime or something. Lime.
It's so wild. It actually tastes really good. Yeah. But they only do oranges.
We've been doing this drink called the Palomas, and it's grapefruit juice, fresh grapefruit, tequila, and a little bit of club soda.
Yep.
Oh man, that is.
It
is good.
If I'm being transparent, I just am not a huge tequila guy.
Yeah. I wasn't either, man.
I
wasn't either. It was probably. It's been in the last 5 years.
It's a trend. Wouldn't you say this is a tequila has been more of a trend in the last?
And I think people are just starting to appreciate. I think I really think probably when we were in our 20s, early 20s. Are you still in your 20s?
No, dude. Okay, thank you though. I look like I'm still
my.
Dude, thank you. I appreciate you saying I look young.
But I know I think when you're 21 and you go out and you crush tequila, it probably does some different things to you. But now it's if it's all in moderation, it's no, this is fun, man.
Yeah.
And like I said, I like it mixed with just a sparkling water.
Yeah.
And I think it's called a ranch water. I think the original was Topo Chico, tequila, and squeeze the lime.
Yeah.
But I did those a lot last summer.
Really?
Have you had the mezcal?
Mezcal? What is that?
Yeah,
mezcal
so that's
a more raw form of tequila. It's I could see if I was
it's something with the with what's I forget
it's more
what
a raw
the mezcal
form of it, right? It's almost I call it almost more of a whiskey version of tequila.
Yeah.
It's a lot stronger.
But
I bought some one time because I love whiskey.
Can you sip it though? Is it a sipper?
It's more peaty, really. That's the best way to describe it.
Yep.
It's more peaty.
So Scotch versus bourbon kind of.
Yeah. So I went and got some one time because I was looking to get into tequilas.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh man, you like whiskey?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Try this." I was like, "Oh man, I love peaty stuff." Man, I went home and I fashioned myself on being a pretty hardcore whiskey drinker. I can handle a lot. But man, I was not really a big fan of the mezcal.
I've had points where I knew what the difference was, but I can't think of it right now. It's it's something with the type of agave or something like that.
I don't know much about it.
I've just never. Okay, so this is again probably me being I don't know if maybe I'm not cultured. Maybe I'm not a cultured human being because I just didn't think that you could I've never seen, and maybe in my friend group, that someone pulls up to the bar and is like, "Let me get a tequila on the rock."
Yeah, man. There's definitely and I don't think it's it's not as widely, you don't see it as much as bourbon, but you can definitely some of the reposados, and when you get into añejo, then you're looking at you want to sip that because you're starting to talk some serious bucks to get some of those that's the extra añejo, you look at I think the Cava Azul or whatever, and that's that really cool porcelain bottle looking one.
Yeah, well that's
I think those are you're looking at $1,000 or something.
That's what I mean, because with whiskey it's like a sipper. You obviously, some people like it with soda. I like whiskey just straight, on the rocks. That's how I like any whiskey, any form of it. But tequila, I've never seen someone come up and go, I'll have a tequila on the rock, because if it's an 1800 or something, those are not really I'd
say it's probably more neat. And there's even I have one friend that's super into tequila. He loves it, and he's got his tequila glass, and it's he drinks it neat, and that's his cap off the day with a kill. How a lot of people do bourbon, he does tequila.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I know we didn't come here just to talk about tequila, although we probably could stay on that topic. But came here really today to talk more about beer, and I'm sure it's going to go all over the place. But one of the things that you mentioned was that you're focused on finding the more rare breweries that a lot of people don't know about.
And it's basically not even it's almost become and we've done a pretty good job at it, and it's basically finding the best thing the best beers, say from a certain state, or like just something that's like super hype right now, and bringing those beers to our market. Because before, people were trading and doing all this, like, well, if we let's see if we can just get them. And honestly, like COVID became like a point where these breweries like having to shut down, and all their on-premise business, all their draft business went away. So they had to move their beer to keep everything afloat. So everybody shifted their us included. We were a business that had just started, and we had sold mostly a lot of draft beer, and then we had to like make a turn and shift mostly to package and selling to package stores, which was, we shifted, we made it through, and we pushed through. We doubled down and just kept pushing as hard as we could. And at that point, a lot of those breweries were looking to figure out how they could sell more beer. So we kind of, it was a timing thing, and we were able to grow. It was still a scary time as a new business, but we just kept pushing through and doubled down.
So are you like almost like a talent scout? Are you going out and looking?
I guess you could say that, but
how many taste tests are you going through?
Probably a good, when we reached out to a bunch, and there's still like a list of like, man, we would love to have this brewery. But we get samples sent to us, daily, where it's like, and then now we're trying to figure out what fits in with our portfolio. Where is it too much? Like, because there's so many breweries now, and there's so many producers of all this stuff.
Almost for,
right? And it's like having we all look at our portfolio as like, man, we want the best of the best. Like we want that like cream now. So, and I think we have that. I mean, there's certainly tons of other great suppliers out there and great distributors even. But like for us, we have a portfolio that's, you've got to stand out now to really like to. And I don't even want to sound
so. Do they reach out to you?
I don't want to sound like cocky or anything, but I think we have a killer portfolio.
Do they like? So they send you samples, or do you reach out to some?
No, some we reach out to. Some we're
like the big dogs, I guess, in the game,
or even the up and comers. It's like seeing potential and like, hey man, these dudes are doing killer stuff.
Are you like going to taste their stuff? Like, are you going to their?
So we used to, obviously, like COVID changed a lot of that, but now we're getting back into like, let's go like check these guys out. Let's go check this brewery out. Or,
well, you got to see the operations too, right? Like if you're going to be behind something, you want to see they've got something that's scalable too, right? Like, what if it hits off and they're doing it out of their basement? It's probably not,
and it's cool for like, but all those breweries have their place. If we can grab 10 sixtels or something, or 10 kegs. I don't know if everybody knows what the sixtel is. That's like the slim kegs, and you have half barrels. That are the bigger ones. But so we'll look for those, and sometimes it makes sense to just grab a few kegs of something, and then whereas other breweries that they have, they're well supported. They have the potential to grow. They have all that. So those we mix in all of it. If we think they fit into our portfolio, no matter what size they are, we'll try to take them on and do our best for them.
So what constitutes fitting into your portfolio exactly?
I mean, quality is big, and now it's become like our relationship with breweries. Like, do we mix well together? Like, is it a good thing? And to that same extent is like, are we going to serve them well? Like, could somebody else do a better job with them? Some breweries, maybe, So not everything. We're not suited to do every brewery. Like, we couldn't sell operation-wise, logistic-wise. We couldn't sell a Budweiser size product. Or anything like that. So.
But it sounds like you're fighting for the small guys. Like you're the voice for them.
I mean, we've always been like throughout like my entire time in this industry, like it's always been a smaller, and it's still, most craft brewers are still on the grand scheme of things small, but yes, we're small. A lot of the breweries that we represent are very small.
What's like, what was the big thing that took off in Ocean City? Is it Hootie?
So Hootie's,
shout out to Billy Gilman.
So Hootie's, Billy Gilman. Like Hootie is like, it started off small, and now it's like, I mean, everybody. It's like a beach thing. It's a beach staple now. So it's kind of Danny Robb. He started that, and Gilman came on at the right time, and like really helped him grow. And now they're striving to. They've obviously taken it to a certain level. Now it's building it to that next level of where I think their ultimate goal, and Gilman could speak better to this, but I think their ultimate goal is for that product to be
like an international thing. So.
We knew Gilman. Gilman is there's no like he doesn't do anything small.
Yeah.
Once Gilman latched on, you knew it was going to go.
Well, that's my. I guess my question for some of these guys, is it for them to, when they're hooking up with you, are they? What's their end goal? Is it to scale to be able to get, or is it just kind of do something they enjoy?
I think that's where you'll see a lot of guys that. A lot of people, so I keep saying guys, that's just but a lot of people that get into this are not necessarily looking to sell out, or they're looking to make a means, enjoy what they do, enjoy their life. You'll see a lot of people come from finance or like tech and get into beer because honestly, it's a fun industry. Yeah. There's a lot, I tell people this all the time, like anytime like you have someone complaining about it's like, you could be selling something a lot worse. Exactly. Like this is you're having a beer at lunch.
So speaking of selling out, craft beer, I feel like is one of them things that it's all about being organic, right? Mm-hmm. You don't want to feel like the sellout because then you probably lose its appeal. People want what's rare, right?
Yeah.
So like I remember growing up. Justin Lynch, right? So me and Justin would hang out. We were small kids, sneaking behind, the house, smoking cigarettes. And we would go in and find, whatever beer was in the refrigerator. Yeah. And Sam Adams was usually in the refrigerator because the Lynches drank those, but nobody knew about them.
Yeah.
And then somewhere along the line, Sam Adams went from probably the craft beer to more, I don't know if it's about sellout, but a bigger company, and it didn't feel as craft anymore.
Yeah.
So do these companies, how do they blow up with still kind of fitting into that craft and still feeling organic?
And I guess like they still like they're still very involved, I guess, in that craft community. But you're right. I mean, it doesn't feel as
I guess my question
organic and small. Like they hire great people to build.
Is it counterproductive to blow up too much? I guess. Sorry, I'm.
I don't have like a great answer to that one because they still sell a lot of beer. So I mean,
I think
for me, like I love I got into craft beer because I love the story, and for a lot of this is like I remember reading Dogfish, reading about Dogfish before I was 21 and being like, man, this is cool. This guy's starting this, like, never heard of this. So when I was in college, I was drinking Dogfish and being like, at first it was like, oh, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah, 60-minute IPA.
I was all about it. I'm reading his books. I'm brewing beer at home because of that. And then, I mean, I think the story in that, like, organic feel is what a lot of people want. And I think that's probably, like, the trend of where beer is now. You asked about that earlier, but it's a lot of very hyper local. Like, just in Salisbury, what do we have? Like, I don't know. Is there 3 or 4 breweries?
Burnish just opened. Is Burnish?
There's another one up on the.
So you got Burnish,
Gateway,
Evo.
I think there's Gateway. So 3 in Salisbury.
I mean,
that's a lot. So, but I mean,
for a small town, that's
for a small town. So I mean, I think it'll get to a point where almost every town probably has.
Well, hell, Berlin has 3. Berlin has 2 to 3, right?
Burley's the main. Is there another one in Berlin?
I feel like there is. I feel like there's. Well, maybe I'm counting Ocean City. Maybe Worcester County. Like,
there's a few down there.
Yeah. Well, I think to your point though, there's something beautiful about, and I say that like, about making a living doing something that you actually love to do, and I think everyone nowadays gets so caught up with how much money means, right? Yeah. And like, there's something else that goes along. Like, you don't have to make money to be rich.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can be rich. I mean, in what you're doing.
It's all your personal, like, perspective of what rich is. Exactly. Like, for me, it's like, I love my family is my, my family. Am I happy? I love what I do. I love selling beer. I love selling spirits. Like, I love that.
Yeah. So, but your goal every day is not, I'm going to be the largest distributor in the world. You are like, I just love it. It shows through.
Our love is that we want to bring these products that we're stoked about to you.
Right.
We want people to drink these and be like, oh my God, this is amazing.
But you will never sacrifice kind of that aspect of the game for money, where it's like, you're not going to go, well, I'm going to do this because of money. You have a great life outside of this. Sure. and it fits very well with it. It meshes. And I think that's what, me and Trader were talking about this over the weekend. I think there is a beauty to someone saying that I don't care about money. I don't give a shit about that. Like,
obviously, you have to care about it.
You have to care about it.
But finding like life is balance. I think like it's finding that balance of where does everything level out where you're happy? Because like, is money going to make you happy? Like, is this much money going to make you, or is it going to be the next level? It's finding It's finding your balance.
I think it goes kind of to what you and I were talking about in an episode before, and I was talking about. You never put the money before the art. You put the art before the money.
Sure.
And, you focus on the art. And if it monetizes itself, then that's great. Yeah. And that sounds a lot like you. You're worried about the art of beer.
I mean, look at, like, this is just something that, like, this just struck me as you're talking about it. But, like, Monet and I went to, like, the Van Gogh experience. It was just a cool thing. It was a cold, snowy day. We were in D.C., so we were like, oh, let's go do that. It's cool. I think he sold one of his paintings his entire life. So this is a dude that made all these, like, crazy paintings his entire life and sold one of them.
Right.
And how remembered is Van Gogh? Like when you mentioned painters, it's like him and Picasso.
Yeah.
And so it goes back to the other thing we're talking about is money doesn't make you remembered either.
No.
You know what I mean? It doesn't, it's who you are, what you gave to the world.
You said it like in your most recent whiskey sessions. It's like, you want your kids to remember. I love the relics thing. Yeah. It was like, cool. That's so awesome, man.
Yeah, it's all that matters to me.
Well, I think it's cool that the like local breweries, and you're bringing them a voice. Mm-hmm. But these guys are not like. I mean, maybe some of them are like, I want to make it big time, and that's great. That's their goal.
And that's their goal.
That's their goal. But I think there is a beauty to someone saying, it's about just loving loving what I do.
And I mean, I don't know if like on some of those like the whole buyout thing, like. I'd say it's pretty rare now. Like you have to be doing it because you love beer. Because I think the buyout things are, Hoop Tea's probably the most recent. And they're always going to have it. You see it all the time. Yeah. But like I think it was Ballast Point. Like they were like $1 billion buyout. Like I don't know if that happens anymore. Maybe it does. I could be wrong.
But there's a number. Listen, there's a number on anything, right?
Sure.
Like, but obviously I think there's something to it where it's like, listen. I love what I do, and I'm not trying to be a billionaire. I'm not trying to. You just want to enjoy your life. There's enough money. You make enough money to be happy. Yep. Everyone around you is taken care of, and you don't have to worry. There's something to that. There is 100%. A beauty to that, and I think that we now have
enjoying your time with your family. Like
100%.
I don't know if you've been watching that. What's the Lakers?
Showtime. Showtime.
Is that what it's called?
No, it's called Showtime.
Is it Showtime? I don't know.
It's on HBO Max, right? Winning time. Yes.
Man, I've been watching that, and I've taken like a few things away from that and just been like, so true. Like there was one thing that they said recently was like, I think it was 2 episodes. I think I'm behind an episode, but there was like Bus is super stressed, and I can't remember his partner's name, but he's like, there's more to the cliff than the edge. Yeah. You don't always have to be like, sometimes you take a step back and appreciate the view, and you appreciate the climb up.
Monet mentioned that on the post.
I did. So it was actually me, and I was like, if you say one thing on there, like she put all the pictures. But it's like there's more to the cliff than the edge, and that she was like, what does that mean to you? And I was like, well, there is more. Like step back, look at everything, like appreciate everything. But the climb up and the climb down, you're missing a ton if you're only getting to that edge, and like that's the only thing you care about.
100%.
You mentioned. Sam Adams, I did, and we talked about it, and Dogfish, right? And these are both companies that got bigger and really blew up, right? Yeah. And I think kind of what I think you were alluding to is just because you do blow up, it doesn't mean you have to change.
No.
You could still, everybody's goal should be to make money.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
But, as long as you stay true to who you are and genuine and stick to the story, that's what's most important.
Right. The story is important,
blow up,
man.
And everybody should blow up and want to blow up. But just kind of stick to,
Yeah, that's why I said that. And again, I hate to repeat it. It's like, but to be clear, it's like you don't hear someone saying nowadays, there's no one going out in front of motivational speaking or doing any of these things, right? To say, hey, like, go be happy. And they're always like, do you want to make $10 million? Because you're a loser if you don't, like they're doing that. They're not saying, do you want to live a happy life with your wife and kids?
Yeah.
You can do it. Like they don't, that's not what they're preaching. Man. Like that, all I'm saying is there is a beauty to someone saying, I'm going to open up my own spot and I'm just going to, I want to live life and I want to appreciate it. What's in front of me?
Yeah.
Because the most valuable thing. There's people that say money. It's time.
Time.
You can never get that back. No. You will never get any time back. So when you give your time to someone, that's the most valuable thing.
100%.
I'll tell you, it's funny you mentioned that. So speaking of whiskey sessions, if you look at season 1 of season 2 of whiskey sessions, right, you see two very different people. On season 1, we literally were on vacation, and we went on vacation to I don't know, it was Sunset Beach, North Carolina. The whole time we were there, this is no lie, I was right in the middle of deals, and I would be on the beach with my wife and kids, and I couldn't wait for the phone to ring so I could go back in the beach house to work on those deals. A year later, almost, if you look at the timeline, I shot another whiskey sessions because my mind had completely flipped. Because my kids were like, they're getting a little bit older. They can do more things. They're like, Daddy, we're going to go to Jolly Rogers this summer. And I was like, you know what? We are. If I got a conference call or a phone call or whatever it is, I don't care.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be put on hold for my kids.
Yep.
So I shot a whiskey sessions, now a completely different one, talking about how time is more valuable to me than money.
Yeah.
And how my kids and spending time with my kids. And that's just a year's change. And that's the thing. I think when you get older and you do have children and I think you experience that, I think you start to value those things more.
Especially as I get older, man. And like I said, it goes back to a balance. You have to do both.
Yeah, you do.
But because when we were just on vacation, it's you see all the pictures of like but there's still like, I'm up at 3:30 making sure I have everything that I needed to get done, or like lining up all the, everything you do prior to that to make sure everything's in line to be able to enjoy that time. Cause so it is that balance. But you're right. Cause and as I get older, you see like, man, I mean, like my boys are they're my dudes. And as they get older, you're starting to see, they're going to need me less and less. Yeah. So now it's like, it hurt, it stings a little bit, but that's what you try to raise them to be independent and want to do their own things. Right. There's a book that Monet and I talk about all the time, and we read it to the boys, and anybody who's having a child, we give it to them, and it's called, If I Could Keep You Little. Yeah. And it's have you guys on this one? So it's If I Could Keep You Little, I would, but then I'd miss you growing into who you're meant to be. Yeah. So like on that note, it's like you're gonna get some time back. And I talked to so many friends that like have kids older than ours. Yeah. And it's like, dude, you and Monet need to start figuring out what you're going to do with your time, because like that, are we going to go for bike rides?
What are we going to do now?
And to be intellectually honest about the conversation, I'm not suggesting, and I don't think any of us here are suggesting you don't go out and focus hard on money.
No, because I know that. Yeah,
it takes money to free up that time.
Absolutely, but you need that.
You have to have
I'm just saying,
like,
when you say that, people, I feel like there's some people that would like look at it and be like, oh man, he's just out living his life. But vacations, it's like, dude, you don't see everything that goes into what that takes.
I think that comes to a bigger point. The bigger point is you work hard to get to that point where you can get like. What's the point of working that hard
if you're just going to do it?
If you're just doing the same, if you're not ever going to go back, like if you have nothing to devote your time to, or someone, then what's the point of doing it?
Nope, absolutely.
It's just that to me seems counterproductive to that extent. Like, and that's why bringing these small guys a voice. To the big, and like they love it. I'm sure they're like so tickled.
Yeah, I mean, usually like when we got things rolling, the few breweries that we started with, they were like, "Yeah, man, what do we need to do to sign up?" Like the people that we knew, and hopefully they all still feel that way. Some may not. But we certainly do our best to keep things rolling and keep a focus on some of our core people who have rolled with us since the get-go.
How hard is it? Because I work for an independent company, and I can. I love all the guys I compete against, but a lot of them do work for national companies, and it is harder sometimes to compete against that level of competition when you're fighting against the corporate.
There's
something rare and something important and custom about the independent companies that people gravitate to, especially nowadays, which is great for us. But for you. How hard is it in your industry to compete against those companies?
So I guess you look at, there's certain barriers, their logistics are very good.
Right.
They're, when you're at a certain size, your logistics have to be on point. So we do our best to run our operations and our logistics just as well as our sales side. Yeah. But on that note, I do feel like you have to compete with yourself. Like you have to have that drive to like, I look at like the places when I was, you know, on the street every day, and even still, I'm like, I want the places that I go, I want to be able to drink the beer that I sell. So I'm going to spend time there. I'm going to like get that rolling.
Personal touch.
For me, it's like in everything, like I feel like we should be competing against ourselves to be better. Like that's where we should really like push. Like I don't think about it, you know, obviously it's a competitive market, and it's like, I don't care whose line it is or whose spot it is that we take. I just want to take a space. I want my stuff there and not yours. So,
but I think there's something to be said to what you're saying though. Like you're going in selling a product, right? And you're there. You know, you go to these places, you're there. It's not like you just showed up out of the blue. And then on top of that, you're putting your name behind something, which means even more. Yeah. Because you're saying that I'm co-signing to this. This is good. Yeah. Like I'm not taking on just anybody.
Like the relationship that I feel like our company is built is like, you know, it's going to be good. Like it might be a little more expensive, but it's going to be good.
Well, that's what I mean. Like you walk in the door, they go, he's got some fire. Like,
and we always, dude, we bring a cooler of killer beers everywhere we go. That's like, as a company, it's like, man, you walk in with the best samples. That's what you do.
That's what, and I could imagine someone you walking in and just being like, "Oh, he's got some fire today. Like, what has he got in the cool? Like, what is? He's got something today. He's gonna get us with."
You're
like,
exactly right.
Like that's what I mean, and that's a great reputation to have because they go immediately. They go, "This dude's not going to sell out." And it goes right.
What I said, I'm like, man, like we just want to be. We want you to want to have a beer with us. Like when we walk in. Yeah. Like we want you to want to have a beer with us.
Exactly. And I'm sure they do because like this right here, like I'm actually going to look for this beer. Like I don't drink beers often, but on a summer day.
Goes well with tequila.
Yeah, that's what I on a summer day, I will have this. Like this is a nice cookout. Like where is it? Where is Dewey? Where are they located at? In Dewey?
Originated like, you know where the Starboard is? Right across the street is their original building. If you haven't been, man, like you should go. Like, I mean, they have cocktails too. Like you don't have to just drink beer, but their food is amazing.
Yeah, typically
like
that
I
goes
said,
hand in hand, right?
My wife doesn't like beer, but she's down to go for the lo mein as well. So their
really?
Lo mein is legit. And then they opened up a spot in Harbison, so they have 2 locations now.
Well, you said about RAR, so you worked with them, and they didn't. Their whole. So
I worked for them. Actually, like Chris and I.
Can I say something? He's gonna be modest, right? And I don't know if I'm saying this wrong, but you and Brandon Ross really helped.
They like Chris brewed with us. Like
those guys
they like brewed with us, and then they met Randy, who owns Burnish now. Yeah. They all got together like through us, and built a really cool thing. And now Randy's, no longer at RER, started Burnish, which we're stoked about. He's killing it, and RER's still doing their thing.
Shout out to Randy.
They do great things as well. So.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I remember them opening up in Cambridge, and then they didn't have food. It was like weird.
It was just like the type of license that they had. So and then they. And I think now they built that to a pretty cool business. Like, I mean, the food is really good. When I was there, I know Devin was running all the food at that point. And I think they're putting out a pretty killer product. That's from what I've had and from everything I hear. So
that's what I mean. It just seems like it always starts that way, where the brewery's kind of like, I got to.
But you got to keep people there.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what food keeps people there.
That's what they're like. I got to figure out. Like they can only have so many beers without having food. Like what do we do? And it seems like that's a huge part of it is like food. Yeah. Like you have to, when you open up a brewery to the public, you have to have some kind of hook. Yep. And I mean, Evo's done really well with that too. Like Evo, we when I first came 7 years ago, that was like one of the only places down here you could go. But now, like you're talking about, Burnish is open, and they're doing, they're doing really well.
The wings, the pizza, beer's great. Like we knew Randy was going to crank out some good stuff.
Well, that's what's crazy is like something like that where is it? Is it right off of
Naylor Mill Road?
Yeah, Naylor Mill. Naylor Mill and Northwood.
Which, like, you wouldn't think is going to be. It's out of the way, right? But they're crushing
the north end of town was like. The north end of town needed something.
Oh,
and now you look at like where it is with the with the complex.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still called the complex, but I feel like when we used to play sports.
No, you're right. That is a great thing.
Like,
you pull a lot of those people.
Think about like softball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or think about like the tournaments that go there. Like,
oh, yeah.
I would imagine they're going to crush it when all that stuff.
Plus,
really
they get
started.
a lot of that old green turtle crowd that came over from Delmar and Mardella in those places. So that's true too. Speaking of going back to the art thing, right? And then speaking of, you need a hook, right? So one of the things that I notice about pretty much every beer can now is a couple things. Is one, they all have this elaborate art. Yeah. And a lot of them are just crazy names. Some of these names are like full sentences.
I think there's for names, it's like there's just so many taken. You have to like come up with it. It's got to be a paragraph.
Yeah. And I see a lot of nostalgia now. Like there's an NBA Jam beer, and I'm a sucker for that. Shay's a sucker for that.
Dunk contest.
You're a sucker for that,
magnify.
Yeah. Like,
how important is it now to have that hook or that fancy art on your can?
It's definitely important
versus the product.
There's so many good beers, so many like just world-class beers out there now. So like throwing a cool label on it is the artwork is important.
This is simple. This is a simple can, dude.
It tells you what it is.
And this is even like, so they've actually changed their can artwork now to where it says Dewey beer. I probably have like a secret machine.
But the cool part about it is it's literally just a lawn chair. But it's like a fluorescent kind of orange pink. It grabbed, like, this is something you walk past in the store. You might not have ever tasted, but you'd be like,
that's cool.
Hey, listen, that might be something.
El Trono.
Yeah,
is that the throne?
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, well, this.
That's true. Yeah.
Listen, this would be a hook. This is what's kind of cool to me. The concept of what beers have went back to. Like, they're not like the elaborate cans and all this stuff. It's like really simple. This is simple art. Like, this is a chair. Like, I've seen it more. Like, hell, even like the old brewing companies, like Natural Light just went back to their like their old throwback logo. Everything's like, going back to nostalgic, very simple, basic, because it catches. This is like, to me, in my opinion, again, doesn't mean probably anything, but like when you walk past that in the store, you're like, that's probably fire. Like, because that's what you like. But
you say it doesn't mean, but you're the person that everybody's trying to grab. Like, you're trying to grab that. So,
well, it's like, because you think about it, like let's say the craft beer industry really took off. It was those cans when they were like, oh man, it was like simple, but you're like, I don't know, like maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Like, but then you started to realize, like, and then as like stores started to get more and more, you're like, I'm gonna try that one. Like, it looks like a can, like I might like, you know what I mean? Because that's what some people do.
Some people buy stuff solely on the cans. Like Stone Cold has a beer, like, and I know, like, there's that, and there's a lot of, like you said, nostalgic. Like,
how do you get Stone Cold's beer? Is that possible?
Yeah, Cheers has Legends has it.
No, say how do you?
Oh no, it's already with a distributor. So like,
what's the biggest like celebrity maybe beer you have, or somebody that's affiliated with celebrity?
For us, I don't even know if it's like affiliated. Like there's some cool ones. So like in Delaware, we have Union. Eddie Murray's got one on there. Ed Reed's got one for them, and they're with another distributor in Maryland. I'm trying to think what else. Like, man, we get so many beers. I'm trying to think. There's have you heard of that? The rap group Czarface. Aslan did a beer with them.
Czarface,
it's like a Wu-Tang kind of.
Yeah, I know exactly. Czarface did a joint album with. I can't remember, but I'm familiar with Czarface.
Was it
Inspector Deck?
I think it might have been.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So when they did that, they did this beer for them when they were doing like the DC and Baltimore.
I should have known Inspector Deck. Uncontrolled Substance. It's like one of the most underrated rap albums of all times, man. Right? Abomatomically. Okay, that's not from that album. But either way, you can't name Inspector Deck and not go into that, right? But yeah. So anyhow, so we're just talking about time, and we're kind of getting close on time. So one of the things I want to talk about is you were talking about, your kids are getting older. People are telling you, what are you going to do with your time? I know you're a busy guy. You're really building this now. What are some things that you're doing in your spare time? Because that's one of the things that we like to talk to people about. Not just
spare time. It's like, I feel like spare time becomes, you have to make it right now. So it's, I get up early, I exercise. That's like that's been like my biggest, like about a year ago, I was like, man, I got to make some changes. I got to get in shape. I was like at a point where I wasn't like stoked with where I was. Yeah. So I started like, and we put a gym in a while ago, and I was like, man, I got to balance. I got to find balance in all these things. So at like 4:30 I get up, and that's also become my biggest like stress relief. It's the way that like I can if I go and if I don't exercise, I can feel it. Like, I'm like, man,
don't you think it's a great way to start your day though? Like 100%. It just gets your mind.
I wake up, I drink a cup of coffee, I go out and I do my thing. And, you know, I'm never going to be like, I'm not the most in shape guy in the world, but I'm happy with where I am. And
you're pretty in shape, man. I saw those pictures from Hawaii.
I was like, damn. I just got, you know,
Shawn got them abs coming.
Like I said, it's balance, man. Well, figuring out like, I'll drink one less beer and then I'll work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. Dude, trust me. I had a, I just started like a training regimen with an actual trainer, and like macro, like
I've
macros
never tried any of that stuff.
Like, dude, it's wild. Like, it is very wild to see. Like, I think I eat maybe now at this point, I'm on like 1,600 calories.
Yeah.
But like my macros are all where they're supposed to be,
right.
And it's like, I didn't know that you're supposed to not worry about like the calories just come when you're like just measuring macros.
Yeah.
But like that's the biggest change I've felt, like just dieting, like actually being like paying attention to what you're eating.
Yeah. And I think that's like a piece that like I need to work on a little bit, is like with, like I said, I love tacos. I love
like that's I have to have it's like I'm like in my like little MyFitnessPal app because you
I do
have
that,
to be
like,
and I'm like, okay, I've left enough for this like to eat. Like it's so crazy because I like the longest time when I was younger I had a metabolism and I could eat whatever and do whatever. Yeah. But now like as I'm getting older I'm like, oh, this doesn't work the same way anymore. Like I have to like really like pay attention to what I'm eating, and plus it does help, like you said, like it actually makes me feel better, like if 100%. I eat like really clean food, stuff like that.
We're getting better, and like for me I would not eat, like I would just skip meals, and now I'm like I try to like build some like meals in for the day and try to just be more conscious about my health, because that's like the terror, like not eating is the worst thing you can do, especially like throw some beers on top, then your sugars are out of whack. And
just drinking beers in between, like, that's not good.
So I got a question. You guys can give me a little bit of counseling on this. So I'm the guy that's, you know, I'm a night owl. You know, I like to hold on to every day. I hate to go to sleep, man. It's like I love every day, right? How does somebody like me start getting up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning? Help me out here. Because I love working out.
It's just a commitment.
I actually like, I think for me, it was like once I started getting up at 4:30 and doing it, I'll be sitting on the couch and dozing off at like 9 o'clock. It's like, all right, it's time to go to bed.
It's just you're reprogramming your body to wake up at a certain time, and then you go to bed earlier naturally. Yeah. And for me, a lot of people like think of it the opposite, like, oh, I like to burn the midnight oil or whatever. But for me, waking up early, going to the gym, I get into the office before anybody else. Yeah. I can get so much, paperwork done without anyone bothering me, right? And you're so fresh.
And by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, then you start seeing the emails roll in, and then you're like, all right, cool, I already got a pretty good jump on it.
Well, so you're already ahead in the day, and now you're like, it's your midday, it's your lunchtime when everybody's rolling in, so you're still in it. Yeah. Now, the first couple of weeks, it's a little difficult. When it gets around 5 or 6, you're like,
what is it? How many days is it for a habit? Like there's
14
always
days.
Saying. So
14 days.
So 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean,
2 weeks.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I would say, do you do anything in particular? Do you like quit watching TV? Do you read more? Like, what are the things that you do?
No, man. Actually, it's funny that because like with TV, like for a long time we didn't have like a TV in the bedroom, but like I think it was like when Monet was pregnant. I got used to watching TV and going to sleep, but if I don't have a TV, and I know there's always like that argument back and forth, but for me, I turn my mind off watching TV. It's like if I don't have it on, I'm thinking about 2,000 things. Yeah. Right. So like if I have a TV on, I'm telling you, I go parallel to the ground, I'm out. Like, it takes me like 2 years to get through like one season of Ozark.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
unless I have like one bad sleepless night, and then I'm like, I'll watch the whole thing.
I'll do melatonin, to be honest with you.
Melatonin does work. Now I will agree with that.
The problem is with melatonin is you got to keep up in the dose, like your body.
And that's
like
where
anything.
I only do that when absolutely have to. And we have like my boys, we have like these Ollie gummies or whatever, and we did it on flights and stuff. But if it's really bad, I'll do like, but I always say that like to Monet, I'm like, I don't want to like keep doing this. Cause like, there's always that like, what do you do next? What do you do? I'm going to stop it right here. I'm going to do it one time. And
our kids are the generation of melatonin. I mean, they are, man. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, we definitely use them.
Yeah.
You know, they're like tranquilizers.
Zarbies.
Yeah.
Like, I know about Zarbies just to get some like time.
So I got a question for you. We had a great debate. Okay, I got Shawn here. He's Mr. CrossFit now. He's got.
I'm not I started out doing some of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, and things like base that. Like
you got your garage is rogued out pretty good. Shane, he's more into the bodybuilding side of things.
Yeah.
So on the first episode,
Thick boys,
him and I got a little bit of a debate on if you can get a workout in 5 minutes or not. What's your take on that? Can you get a workout in 5 minutes?
I mean, I forget what that one like workout is, but do as many burpee box jumps as you can in 5 minutes. That'll show you.
He's done box jumps on there.
Well, see, my thing is for a work, I guess I've always been trained is like a workout is different than like some people will define burpees as a work. And like some people were like, after that episode, somebody reached out and was like, what about when you have to hang clean, press, and squat? You can't do that. Let's see you do that for 5 minutes. You'll be dead. I'm like, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do.
And I think that's what when you're working out, like, that's what, like, Trader said, like, I don't, like, there's a CrossFit, like, program. I used to do, like, a lot of stuff. And I'm not, like I said, I'll never be the most, like, in shape person or anything. But it's about, like, doing what you like to do.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy, like, and I looked at some of the stuff. I'm like, I don't want to do that fast. I don't want to do as many deadlifts as I can in 5 minutes. I'm afraid I'm going to hurt my back.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
almost 40 years old.
What?
I do what I like to do. Like, there's certain things I like to do. Like, I run, I row, and, you know, ultimately just, like, I do what I like to do. That's it.
Yeah,
like,
what works for you, I think is, and the biggest thing about working out, especially now that I'm older, and it's no longer about, first thing you have to do is take your ego, throw that to the side.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter about how much weight you're benching, lifting. It's about you doing the exercise properly and actually being like, you want to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Because I think for the longest time, for me at least, like, and this is why I got, like, to get back into the gym, I, like, burnt myself out in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Like, going all the time, doing all this stuff. And then it was, like, so hard to just feel, I was like, I don't want to go. But, like, when you start actually going back to do the things that you want to do, and you enjoy it, that's a part of going to the gym. And, like, it doesn't have to be 3 hours. Like, I'm actually learning more and more now from our, like, the trainer that I hired. He's like, no, it's not about, he's like, listen, maybe you go in, do, less is more. He's like, 5 lifts a day, hit the treadmill, 30, like, it's, and I'm like, really? You can get a workout like that? And he's like, yeah, every lift should be until failure. And he's like, don't go throw all this weight on and then not be able to complete the set. It's like, it's that fine line of like making sure that you're challenging yourself.
Challenge yourself. Like, like for me, same thing I was saying about like sales. It's like, I feel like I'm competing against myself. I don't want to compete against anybody else. It's me. And at 37, I know at 38 I'm better than what I was at 37.
Right.
And I want to do this for everything. I want to be better. And now as I'm about to turn 39, I want to be better at 39. And if I keep pushing that, eventually you're going to reach a peak, especially physically.
Yeah.
But like, if I can extend that time, like if I can be, man, I'm still beating myself at 50.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, maybe I'll be around for my kids a little longer.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, I keep like trying to push that. And that's kind of where I'm thinking. I'm like, I'll just keep doing the things I like. And if I'm better at, let's say Murph, like that, you know, I'll do that workout this year. And I do that weighted vest, 20-pound weighted vest, run a mile, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, run another mile back.
You're blown out,
so
dude. You're blown out, dude.
I did it last year for the first time with my buddy Taylor that, you know, Taylor Dean.
Yeah,
I think I was like, and I've already like, I've worked on it a little bit this year, and I've been like, I've already cut like 10 minutes off. Now I'm like, all right, I want to get below 40 minutes for this. Like so setting goals for like that for myself and beating myself is what
personal goals
I want to do.
Is huge. Yep. Like, and when it comes to I think the biggest thing when it comes to the gym or in anything in life, you know, working out, it's small tweaks.
Sure.
It's just being able to take a small and then changing it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people think you have to like go in and redo your whole no.
Yeah.
Like cut out, the first thing to do is like you said, I got to cut back on beers. Like I can't drink, you know, like the first, it's like small changes. You'll notice those things by saying like, you know, I had to cut my caffeine intake doing this because I'm like, now I'm measuring my macros and stuff. I'm like, oh, dude, I can't have this much caffeine. So, like, the first, like, week, I was devastated. Like, I felt like my brain was
I've always heard,
mush.
like, that caffeine is, like, it's, like, a terrible, like, first few days. And then once you get, because I live off Rise Up. Like I pretty much have an IV.
Yeah, exactly. Well, dude, caffeine. I went last year cold turkey off caffeine. At one point in time, I think I fell asleep like at my desk at like 9. I was like, because it was so devastating. Like how I didn't realize caffeine like it meant that much to me. Like, but it's I don't even know how caffeine's legal, to be honest with you. Like, how do they put this in anything? Because
that's true.
Well, it's like people are like, oh, does it have sugar and it has caffeine? I'm like, caffeine's like that's not any better, but like, you know, I have to at this point, because what caffeine does is literally just shuts down your brain, like the brain, the whatever it is to your brain, saying that you're tired. It just tells your brain that you're not tired. It's like, oh, just keep going. Like, but that's all it does. It's not giving you more energy. People think it gives you more energy. It's just telling your brain, like, you can keep going.
So speaking of competing, and to try to segue back to beer, you mentioned Taylor Dean. Mm-hmm. Okay. Bryan Brushmiller, I'm pretty sure everybody knows him. We'll drop his name real quick. He does these Instagram videos where it's called lunch meetings, right? And he has and he sees who could drink the what is it?
I think they were doing Guinness for a while.
The Guinness.
Oh my gosh.
Who can drink Guinness the fastest? And then Bryan usually dusts everybody and does the karate chop with the Guinness hanging off his beard, and it's beautiful. I mean, this guy's like the Mike Jordan of drinking Guinness. But Shawn told me that Taylor Dean could potentially compete with Bryan Brushmiller. So I've got an idea. And I don't know if you can help us Don King this or not.
I'm sure.
But I would love to see if we could put together Taylor Dean versus Bryan Brushmiller in a Guinness drink-off right here on either Prop Culture or somewhere else.
I'll certainly mention it too.
I would love.
I feel like it'd have to be a best 2 or 3 or something, because like I think Taylor is like, he gets after the like lagers, like so, but he could probably knock down the Guinness too.
I mean, that's dude. That's
it's actually not as heavy as you think. Like, if you drink a Guinness, it's actually fairly light.
Oh my! Like, I can't actually, like, my tummy's upset thinking about like just chugging a full Guinness right now. Like,
I want to see if we can get this together sometime.
Dude.
But we do have to wrap things up because we're kind of getting the signal. Shawn, I will tell you this. We have done a lot of these, and everybody on here with us that's been a guest so far has been phenomenal. I have to tell you, this has probably been one of the best conversations.
Dude. Well, thanks for having me.
No bullshit. This has been a great conversation.
Cool. Awesome.
We appreciate you. And guys, we appreciate you tuning in to Prop Culture. If you need any beer, hit up Shawn Smith, the beer genius, and we'll see you next time live right here on the Prop Culture podcast. See ya! No,